Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with the Reach for the Stars stamp set. Now this stamp set comes in the May inspiration box from Brutus Monroe. It's got aliens and an astronaut and planets and stars and a couple of cool sentiments right here. Now I'm also going to be playing with some other stuff. This Prism MirrorStock, which is a 6x6 mirrored cardstock. Of course, some black and white cardstock. I've pulled out my sterling embossing powder, some Raven detail ink, some clear embossing ink, and a couple of photos when Star Wars Launch Bay was in Walt Disney World. This was before Star Wars Land started. So let's see what I can do. All right, so I am going to start with my anti-static powder tool, and I just have that bad boy stuck to a binder clip, so when I put my tool all over the paper, I don't get the powder all up in my fingernails. It still gets there a little bit, but nothing like it was when before I decided to put a binder clip on there. So I've pulled out the stamp set. And you guys, I love this stamp set. It is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put my piece of paper into my stamp positioner tool. And then I'm going to go ahead and get these stamps all laid out where I want them to go. So this does take me a minute to figure out where I want it to go. Some of the stamps like to stick to my fingers. It is a brand new stamp set, so there it is like rip-roaring and ready to go to stick down to things, as new stamp sets do. It's just the way it works. So I'm figuring out where the planet should go, where the little star bit should go, and all of the rocket ships and UFOs and all that really cool, fun stuff. Now I am going to go ahead and figure out where I want these. You know, I'm thinking ahead. Like, I know that I'm going to cut this down into 2 long strips. So I was thinking that I would have the exact same stamp, like position on those 2 strips. Now, if I was truly thinking ahead, I wouldn't have done that. I would have changed up the position and stamped out the second one differently. And you'll see why later on the layout. It's not enough for me to go back and change the layout. It's not enough for me to redo it. But there is a little something that I would do differently for next time. So I go ahead and press the stamp positioner tool down to pick up all of the stamps. And I'm using my Brutus Monroe Raven detail ink, which is the most fabulous black ink ever. It is a permanent ink. It is alcohol marker safe, and it is permanent when it is dry. And I lied. I'm not even using that ink. But those are the fun facts about the Raven detail ink. It's sitting right in front of me at my desk, which is why I started talking about it, but I'm actually using the clear embossing ink on this bad boy. And then I'm going to dump the sterling embossing powder down. Now, I am a fully admitted slob when it comes to embossing powder. I have tried the embossing tray. I have tried the sheet of paper. I have tried the coffee filter. If it's out there, I have tried it and nothing works. I still get embossing powder everywhere. I still make a big old mess. And the only thing that saves me is a Swiffer. So I just decide to go for it, and I don't even have like anything down to catch the extra embossing powder that's going to fall. And we all know it's going to fall because I am a slob when it comes to embossing. And see, there's the Swiffer. Makes it all better. So I go ahead and grab my heat tool. I let it heat up a little bit before I place it to my paper, and then I'm just going to hold the heat tool over the embossing powder until it heats up and gets all smooth and melty. And I love me some embossing. It is so much fun, you guys. And I cannot tell you how important it is to have a quality embossing powder. Find yourself a good brand. I recommend Brutus Monroe. They are really, truly quality embossing powders. It is a big difference from those generic ones that you buy at the craft store, I promise you. It is worth it to spend the little bit extra to get a good quality embossing powder. And just, buy yourself one and see if you like it. See if it's a good enough quality. And if it is, then start building your collection if that's what you want to do. So this color that I embossed with is sterling. It is the silver color and it is gorgeous. I am going to use some of this MirrorStock in Prism, and I'm also using some Watercolor Galaxy papers, which is a 6x6 paper. They're actually both 6x6 papers. I trimmed down my photos ever so slightly. Since I have a 4x6 photo and I'm using a 6x6 paper to mat it, the math doesn't add up. So I trimmed down the 4x6 photo. Now, again, you would never do that if it was a one-of-a-kind photo or, taking off that tiny little bit of the photo was going to ruin it. I would never suggest that, just so you can use 6x6 papers. But if it doesn't, then what a great way to use your 6x6 papers, right? So I go ahead and mat them. Now I have the Star Wars launch bay kind of like wall photo, and then I also have the printed story that was on the ground in the Star Wars font, which was pretty awesome. Now this is where you can see why I should have altered them a little bit, because now I have two rocket ships right next to each other. Now, I thought I solved this problem, but obviously wasn't using the old noggin enough, because I do trim down the bottom one so that the bottom two pieces aren't exactly the same. But I should have cut off that rocket ship, pulled that second sheet of paper up, and then still split it and had my piece underneath of the bottom. So I don't know why it wasn't in my head, I couldn't figure that out while I was scrapbooking it. But believe you me, I figured it out after I was done with the layout. But again, not so much of an issue for me where I feel like I need to redo it and unglue everything and pull things up and just do it. Now, if I would have had that bright idea in the midst of scrapbooking this page, yeah, I would have pulled the stuff up and done it. But it's in the finished layout pile to be put away at the end of the month, and I'm just not that worried about it. So I decide to have the photo with the writing be on top, and then the photo that is just the wall kind of have more of it covered up, because it's just, I'm covering up a gray wall and a brown sidewalk. So I don't really think that you're losing a lot from the photo. So I've already trimmed down the photo a little bit, and now I'm covering up a portion of it, and you haven't really lost anything. So now I have these cut-offs of the Galaxy paper from when I went ahead and photomat it. So I put these guys together and overlap them a little bit. I'm going to tuck them underneath of my stamped images. And what I'm doing is just trying to bring the color of the photomats out a little bit more. So I've got the sterling silver embossing, I've got the silver prismed cardstock, or MirrorStock rather, and now I'm just trying to bring in this color a little bit more. So I've got that down and I'm liking the way this looks, and then I decide to pull in the stamp set one more time. And this time I am going to use that Raven detail ink that I was waxing poetic about earlier. I'm going to place it right here underneath of the photo that is hanging out over top of the white background. I just figure out where I want to place it, and I go ahead and just put it on the stamping block. I'm not really worrying about it too much to put it into a stamp positioner tool, because I'm pretty confident I can stamp this out. So it says shoot for the stars, and then I'm going to grab some more of apparently we have an alarm for something, we have no idea what. But I'm going to grab some more of the stamps that I used over here and emboss, and I'm just going to stamp them out in black. And again, I'm just using a stamping block. I'm not too terribly concerned with my ability to stamp on white cardstock when there's no lumps, bumps. I'm not stamping over lines or anything like that. No mixed media, it's going straight on some cardstock. So I think I can handle that. And I do. I think I handle it pretty well. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep adding these little bits so that I have more decoration on the page. The photos really aren't a decorative photo, so I don't want my layout to be super decorative. And that's just because that's the way I was feeling today. Sometimes I have pretty plain photos and I pull out my more is more philosophy on my layouts. But this day I was feeling a little bit less is more, but I needed something. I needed a little bit of extra, not a whole lot, just a little. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out that, and then I pull these black and white tiny tile letter stickers from my stash, and I'm going to go ahead and spell out some words here. And I honestly don't remember what the title is of this layout. It's been a couple days since I did it. Oh, here we go. So I have shoot for the stars, and then I put down at the, and then I'm going to go into my stash and get these blue stickers with a holographic silver line on them and spell out Launch Bay. And I am going to use another U and turn that upside down to make an N for this layout. So I just go ahead and place those bad boys down, and I thought that they were a good match because of the silver holographic foil on them, and also this blue color kind of goes in with the purplies, blues, and pink galaxy pattern paper that I'm using for photo mats and those little pops of color. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with it, and then I think that I need to add a little bit more. So I go ahead and grab another stamp and open back up my Raven detail ink, and I'm going to go ahead and place this down so that every single stamped image cluster has one of these bad boys on it. So I put that back, and then it is just a matter of figuring out if this is going to be it. So I do grab a black pen, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place a couple lines of journaling down here underneath of my title. I don't have a tremendous amount to say because I do have a lot of photos from the Star Wars launch bay, so I will say more across more layouts. Now, if this was my only photos I had, I would say more because this is my one time to get it done. I do go ahead and place the date over there, and then that is going to do it, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and stick them down in the comments below. Of course, I will have links to the products that I used. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video.